Hello, it's me again. So I've just got into work at sort of about 8:20 in the morning. So I normally get in quite early to just get myself set up. And just doing a quick bit of sorting out. And I thought, in the office area, and I thought I'll do a quick video. I'm talking about books on eBay. And because what prompted my thinking about doing this video, isn't it? Because I was just moving this to one side. Reflections by Holly Willoughby. This is the kind of book. I mean, I've got to know sort of my clientele reasonably well, the kind of people that come into my bookshop, and I know them well enough to know that a book like this one, it's potentially going to sit on my bookshelves for a while. Because this could be a slow burner, take a while to move. I mean, this kind of book, copies of this are going to be probably 10 a penny. I think it's one of those ones where I had a large print run and they chuck loads and loads and loads and loads of copy out purely because it's Holly Willoughby. So I thought, well, do I really want it sitting on the shelf for a long time? Because I haven't got exactly a massive amount of space, so I don't mind books being out on the shelves for a little while, but I haven't really got the space for a book to be sitting there for like a year or something stupid like that, So, but the thing is, right, at the moment, I'm doing either selling either in the shop or selling on eBay. That's my two outlets that I've got at the moment. I mean, in due course, I must get round to setting up a website. But anyway, I'm waffling. Sorry. So on eBay, right, big companies, World of Books. I'm looking at you, World of Books. They're selling copies of this for like £3.50, like with free postage and packaging. So the buyer doesn't have to pay it. The postage and packaging, the buyer just pays £3.50. And I was thinking, well, crumpets, how do they do that? I mean, I haven't checked this one. I could possibly this could possibly get sent as a large letter. And I mean, for me to send something as a large letter, I have to pay £2.72, something like that. Worst case scenario, this will have to be sent as a small package. All right, and for that, I personally, I'd have to pay postage of £3.38. So if I'm going to sell this for £3.50, well, £3.38. If I'm paying £3.38, there's a big chunk of that money gone. And of course, packaging, that ain't free. I mean, the envelopes I get, I get them. There's a DIY hardware shop down the road from me that does reasonably good prices. So, and at the moment, I'm paying sort of each envelope works out about 30, 40 pence, 50 pence at the most. I mean, obviously, if I was buying in bulk, like massive, great big quantities, great big pallets worth of envelopes at a time, I could probably get it for 10 pence an envelope. But at the moment, I'm not at a stage where I need to buy things in bulk like that. So anyway, yeah. So what? Postage and package for me to send this. Worst case scenario, what was it? Worst case scenario, £3.38 plus. Worst case scenario, 50 pence. So best part of £4 I'd have to pay for postage and packaging. So to put this on eBay, I'd be like, I don't have to put it for sell it for about something like £5. And even then, doing it at £5. Once I've paid the postage packaging and all the rest, I'm just getting £1 out of it, and that's just like gross profit. Because obviously that £1, that's got to cover that's got to pay for the time I spent putting this on eBay, the time I spent putting it in the envelope, taking it to the post office, you know. So net profit is, so once I've kind of paid myself for that time I spent, the sort of net profit is going to be pence, like pennies. But then, like I said, World of Books, and the likes of World of Books, they're selling copies for like £3.50. I can't compete with that. I just can't. And I've often thought, how on earth are they doing it for that price? And the only conclusion I can come to is that they must have some really good deal with like the carriers. Where I think it's I'm assuming it's Royal Mail they use, but I mean they must have some really good like business deal. You know, I mean, I know they're a big company, World of Books. They're churning out goodness knows how many books a day. And so I'm assuming that it's probably the case they're doing such a high volume of business, they're putting such a huge amount of business Royal Mail's way, that they've got a really good business contract with Royal Mail. They're like the mail, they're probably providing World of Books with like really heavily discounted like postage costs. I can only assume that that's what they're doing, you know. So yeah, otherwise, you know, that's the only way they can be doing it, I think. Otherwise, they're like getting. Otherwise, how are they making profit? You know, so yeah. But I mean, this is the thing. Books like this, I can't. Practically speaking, I can't sell it on eBay purely because I just can't compete with the likes of World of Books. You know, how can I when they're selling a copy for £3.50, free postage and packaging? It's going to cost me at least £3.50 on postage and packaging for me to send it out. You know, so if I sell this for £3.50, I'm going to lose money. I'm going to be out of pocket. You know, so yeah. But I mean, it is a bit galling in a way, because when books like this end up coming my way, because it's like often, because what it is, when people come in with donations, I just take donations. You know, I'm not too critical with it. I'll take pretty much anything because it's free. But then books like this will be in amongst it, and it's like, well, what do I do with these books? Because you know they're going to be potentially a long time for them to sell in the shop. I ain't going to sell them on eBay because I just can't compete with the big boys. And I ain't going to chuck this out. I mean, the only time I would ever consider like chucking a book out is if it's falling apart. You know, if like pages are hanging out, like the spine's all gone, and it's like pages are missing, pages are torn, and it's just completely well beyond the end of its life. You know, but I mean, a book like this, it's far too good a condition to throw away. Far too, but and then flip side of the coin, how am I going to sell it? You know, it's like just have it sitting on a shelf doing nothing, which is a bit pointless. Yeah, so every now and again I have books like this. Is like, well, what do I do with it? But yeah, this is the thing. Big companies on eBay, how do they do it so cheap? How do I compete with them? You know, when they're checking out books for like £2-3 for free postage and package. They're black. But anyway, I've been rambling on, and I suppose what I really need to be doing is getting out there and setting the shop up. So guys, see you again, and stay safe. Happy reading.